Welcome guys to the first world tour of this world. It's episode 10 of the Let's Play, and you might think that's a little too early for a world tour, which granted it might, but I've actually been playing in this world for quite a while, and I've done quite a lot of stuff, so I think a world tour is fitting so far. So we're actually gonna come back and show this a little more in depth. But I think we're going to start off where the world started, so I'll be back. Alright, so the first building we actually built was this AFK fish farm. I didn't actually make an episode on this, but I figured I'd show it anyway since it's somewhere in the world. Inside we have a little bit of a kitchen area, then up top is a place to sleep. And then down here is where you do the fishing. Here's the little hole for the fishing, and then under it is all the storage. And just about 100 or 200 blocks away from the fish farm that's over there is my starter village. This definitely isn't done, but I haven't been here in a while, so I definitely need to come start working on this soon. We have a couple towers over here and over there, and a small little hut, and then a storage pile right there, which actually goes down into my storage room. This is my first storage room of the world. And over here are my starter farms. These were really handy to start trading with the villagers, and the cows are handy for the food. This definitely helped me get my first beacon, but the way I actually got my first beacon was using the book and the bookshelf in book trade. Alright, now we're going to move on to another build out in the mesa. That's about 500 blocks that way, past the fish farm. Okay, and we are over here in the mesa. The only thing I have over here is actually the skeleton farm. We have a whole bunch of dogs, so when these dogs die, because they end up dying from the thorns on all the skeletons, so when they die, I have replacements for them. And I have a little enchanting area over here, and yeah, I really like how this looks. I like the overgrown feel of it. And this takes me up to the mesa. But next, I think we'll end up going to kind of my main base area. There's not too many different places in my world. I mainly stay to the same 2 or 3 places right now. So, yeah, we'll head over to my main base. Okay, and we are here at the main base. This actually started off right here. And this back wall right here was closed off, and this was my storage room to start off. So the whole idea of this base is it's a big circle, and I'm going to have all the farms that I need surrounding it. I think I'm going to try to go in order a little bit. So after the storage room was done, we came over here and worked on this villager breeder. This works really well. I have 4 cells of it. All you need is really 1, but I decided to do 4 so I could have a really good output. And just looking at it, there seems to be quite a bit of just carrots and potatoes resting on the ground, which is interesting. I'm not really sure why that's a thing. Not really sure what that guy's doing either. He looks like he's trying to get into the other cell or quadrant. But over here we have the storage for it. The carrots are completely filled up, and the potatoes are just about filled up. And then right there we have a bone mill converter, basically. So any leftover potatoes or carrots just gets automatically made into bone meal. And then right after that, I believe we built this trading hall. So in here we have where we get the villager and get his trade. So this button on the right would call a villager in here, which this room I guess isn't done yet. I just realized, but yeah, I guess I need to fix that. But the button on the right gets a villager and puts him right here to where I can filter through his trades and get the trade I want. And this button on the left sends him down here and up into the system to where he'll find an open spot and take that. Down here is kind of the main source of emeralds right now. It's the villagers with the book trade and the bookshelf trade. It's just it's honestly the best trade in the game right now. There's really no reason to do any other trade. If you have 1 emerald, you can infinitely multiply your emeralds, so This is by far the best trade. Right here is a clock that tells me when the workday starts. And just about after the trading hall, we started working on the storage room. It's definitely not completed. Most of the stuff in this base probably isn't done, but that's probably going to be the case for a while just because everything's kind of a work in progress. But my original idea for this was to have a circle of chests around the center, but you can't actually make item sorters like that. They're going to interfere with each other, just the way the wiring is, which makes sense. I'm sure there's some way you can do this, just I'm not smart enough to figure it out. I wasn't really sure if I was going to go into spectator mode. Right now I'm just in survival still. I think I am, so I think it just makes some things easier, especially looking at this. So we're going to hop into spectator mode. If you don't know, you can push F3 and N to switch to creative, and then push that again to get to spectator. And that actually switches between creative and spectator mode, which is super helpful in like test worlds. So I actually forgot that this was actually the first thing we built here. This was the main reason we came out here to this base. This base is actually in a mushroom island biome. So that was the main reason we chose this area, so we can have an efficient mob farm. But this mob farm actually started off with one layer, so just this bottom layer was the only one I had in here. And that was actually really sufficient. I really didn't need to do more. I just decided to because I wanted to do something cool with this. I'll go more in depth on that in another episode. I think I've talked about it before in some previous episodes. So yeah, I decided to build this all the way up. This thing works great when it's on. It's honestly too much, so I had to turn it off a lot. Alright, I think that's the only thing I really needed spectator mode for, so I'm actually going to go back into survival. And I believe the next thing we built is the sugarcane and bamboo farm. They both work amazingly. They're actually way too efficient, at least the bamboo, so I'm thinking about only having one bamboo and then the other 5 be sugarcane. But yeah, I have this storage back here for all of them. It's the same setup as the carrots and potatoes over there. It's not in a diagonal. The bamboo filled up in about like 2 or 3 hours. The sugarcane took a couple days to fill up. And I have the excess going into some bone meal, and then this one is actually for slime. I used to have a full slime chunk, but I had to take about a little over half of it out to fit the sugarcane and bamboo farm. So now it's only about like a 7 by 16 area that the slime can spawn. So it's definitely taking a hit. It's actually taking a big hit. If it was the full slime farm, this would probably be full already, to be honest. Alright, the next thing we worked on in here is probably this tree farm. This tree farm is by Nembon, and it works pretty awesome, actually. It's really good. I actually haven't had to use it in like a month or two, just because I only had to use it for like half a week, and I had like plenty of wood, so yeah, this thing was definitely worth it. Everything is Nembon besides the exploding part. That's just me, which isn't impressive. I'm just saying that. Yeah, I just made that part. So everything you see on screen right now, I designed with like air quotes because it's really simple and like everyone's probably designed one of these. It's just a simple piston pusher and a TNT duber. But yeah, if we take a look at all the logs I have, I think it's pretty much halfway full, it looks like. So yeah, I've just been slowly chipping away at my log supply, and when I built this, I thought this was like a overnight farm, but definitely not. This is like, okay, I ran out of logs and I need to AFK for like 30 minutes to get some more logs, and then all of a sudden I have like a full double chest of logs. So that works really well. And I think the last thing we've been working on down here in the base is this concrete farm. I guess it's a concrete converter technically. But if you pull this lever right here, if I can hit it, it opens up this door and it's a zero-tick concrete converter. It's actually Mumbo Jumbo's design. So you stand here and place all the concrete in there, and also I do bookshelves in there for the trading over there, and it works really well. I had a lot of problems with it at first just because I was having trouble figuring out how to do it, but now that it's done, it's working perfectly. You might have been able to notice this when we were looking at the villager breeder, but I have a lot of space dug out right here. Currently there's not really any plans right now for this area. I mainly just dug this out because when I can't record and have downtime, I like to do busy work in the world. So one thing is just digging out around the base to when I do a project, I don't have to do that then. And I can just focus on getting the project done. But right here is the collection area for the iron farm. The iron farm's about probably like 100 blocks above from right here. And we'll take a look at it in a second. But this iron farm works really great. I've gotten a lot of iron. Speaking of that, I could probably show you some statistics. I guess the first one I want to show you, is that it? No. The first one I want to show you is the date or the time played. I have played a total of 45 days in this world, so just about a month and a half. And a lot of that is probably AFK time, I'm assuming. So that's general. And items, you can see all the stone I've mined out from just because of the base and having to clear space for it. Surprisingly, I have kind of kept even with the gravel and sand, which is kind of surprising to me. I guess that makes sense because that's how you make concrete, and I use a lot of concrete. One thing I was surprised to see is iron and emeralds here for the times crafted. That's because when I convert almost all the iron I get into iron blocks, which is right there, and when I use that iron, I have to deconvert it into iron ingots again, to where that just racks that number up and keeps on racking it up. Same with emeralds. I convert them into emerald blocks, and then when I need them to trade, I convert them back down. Just because when you convert them into blocks, they take up a lot less space. Also, a little bit surprised about the oak planks. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I guess that really makes sense because I made all my hoppers out of oak, and all my chests are out of oak, just because that's the easiest one to do in the tree farm. I finally surpassed the fishing rod as the main item used, and now it's the pickaxe. You can see how much I've used the fish farm, AFK fish farm. And I guess I can just quickly glance through this real quick and see if there's anything interesting. So I've killed 121 drowned, and I've gotten 1 trident. So I'm not really sure if that's like the normal ratio. I'm not really sure what the ratio is for that, actually. I would say that's decently good, considering I've never made a drowned farm. I killed the ender dragon once. I've almost killed 20,000 endermen. That's kind of crazy. And the last thing I probably want to look at is the wither skeletons. Okay, so I've killed almost 250 wither skeletons. So I think you're supposed to get a skull every 20 wither skeletons. That's like the average. So let's see. Let's just round that down to 240, and I think that's 12 skulls I should have got, which is far less than I've actually gotten. So maybe it's a little better than 20. Yeah, maybe it's like every 10 skeletons you get a skull, because I have 6 beacons, I believe, and that would be 18. So maybe more like every 15 skeletons you get a skull. So yeah, I don't know if I showed it, but I also have 10 deaths in the world, and I'm just looking through to see if I've actually been killed by anything. I think most of those have been just me being killed by like my elytra, or me taking fall damage, or like lava or something. Oh man. You guys probably saw this when I was scrolling down. I was afraid this was gonna be here. I actually remember this. I actually showed this in the video. Yeah, this magma cube is how I ended up losing a whole shulker box of basically everything I owned. Um, I lost all my diamonds, lapis, probably um, a whole bunch of redstone and iron and gold actually too. I lost my first set of the OP armor in that shulker box too. Basically, I died because I got jumped by like 3 wither skeletons, a magma cube, and like 4 blazes in the nether. And I guess the magma cube got the last shot, so that's why he's credited here. And I was recovering all my stuff and was putting a shulker box down with all my valuables in it to put stuff in it to make sure nothing happened to it. And a gas shot at me and destroyed the shulker box, and the shulker box landed in the fire and destroyed it. So that's the story of that. I have been killed by the Enderman, which makes sense. I am horrible at fighting those. So it looks like I've actually been killed 4 times by actual mobs, and the other 6 times are just me being stupid probably. Okay, so we are now up on the surface of the Mushroom Island, and I'm standing in the iron farm right now, or at least the collection area. Up there is actually where they spawn. Yeah, this iron farm works really great. It kind of fuels everything I do in this world. And up here is kind of the main project, or the main building project I'm working on right now. This is actually the first castle I've ever built. And I'm pretty proud of it so far, and I just fell. But yeah, it's starting to come out really well. Obviously, it's nowhere near done. We'll definitely be working on this in the next couple of episodes. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of work to be done with this, but I'm really enjoying it. And the only other thing I can really think to show is the Ender farm in the end, obviously. But it's really just your basic Enderman farm, so there's not really much to show. But I figured for the end of the video, we'd hop in spectator mode and kind of look at the base from here. So yeah, there's this one big circle, and everything's kind of around it, or in it. So yeah, I really like how this is coming together so far, and I think it's really cool. But yeah, that's actually going to be the end of the episode. I hope you enjoyed the world tour. This is my first world tour of any world I've ever had, mainly because this is the first series I've ever done. And I'm really proud of what I've done so far, and I'm glad I get to share it with some people. But please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.